There are many stereotypes around autism. This presentation is intended to help teachers and future teachers gain a better understanding of this condition and to give some recommendations on how teachers can provide students with this condition better access to the curriculum. What is autism? Autism is a lifelong developmental disorder that affects a person's ability to communicate, form relationships, and respond appropriately to the environment. It results from a neurological condition that impedes normal brain development in the areas of social interaction and communication skills. This condition affects people from all backgrounds. Its prevalence is 1 in 54 children in the US is diagnosed with ASD. Autism, or more accurately known as autism spectrum disorder, is a term that applies to 4 subcategories: Asperger syndrome, Rett syndrome, childhood disintegrative disorder, and pervasive developmental disorder not otherwise specified. Autism is called a spectrum disorder because its symptoms and characteristics appear in a variety of combinations, from mild to quite severe. As a result, people on the autism spectrum range from those with extreme developmental disabilities to those with surprising intellectual abilities. People with ASD processes the environment differently. The way this affects a person can vary and can include differences in areas like social communication and social interaction, social imagination and flexibility of thought, unusual sensory responses, and restricted repetitive patterns of behavior, interests, or activities. Some common exceptionalities in these areas are as follows. Inside the autism spectrum are those individuals who tend to be more adept at speaking and using the language. Academically, these students tend to be very capable, and because of this are often included in mainstream classrooms. However, they still exhibit many of the common characteristics associated with autism. Preschool and very early elementary grades, students with autism may not seem developmentally different than their peers. But by the time they enter secondary school, the differences become more pronounced and visible, and challenges posed by the new environment can seem overwhelming. So, what are some characteristics teachers might see in a classroom with autistic students? What barriers autistic students face to access the curriculum? And what are some accommodations general teachers can provide to make curriculum more accessible for autistic students? These are some of the questions that I intend to respond in this presentation. What are some characteristics teachers might see in class? The characteristics of autism can vary widely from individual to individual, dependent on both developmental age and etiology. However, there are key characteristics that are apparent in some form in this population across all of the spectrum disorders. In mainstream classrooms, autistic students may exhibit extreme sensitivity to the environment, being overly distracted by the hum of a computer or feeling overwhelmed by a particular odor. Some students may have hearing so sensitive that they can hear construction 3 blocks away. They may be distracted by the sound of a pencil, and the turning of a page can disrupt them. And sometimes it makes it extremely difficult for them not just to stay calm behaviorally and to regulate their reactions to those things, but also to attend to whatever else is going on in the classroom. They have also troubles adapting when a routine changes. For example, if an unexpected test or homework is done. They also have troubles organizing their materials and tasks. They exhibit anxiety when faced with loss of info or lots of steps. Meltdowns occur when they feel under stressful situations. Problems are often in the areas of social skills. They have a difficult time navigating the social environment. They have anxiety, which really comprises their ability to deal with complicated environments. High school and middle school are very complicated environments. What barriers autistic students face to access the curriculum? Trouble following directions, lack of consistency and predictability in the classroom, lack of resources to suit their needs, disinterest, hampered ability to communicate, disruptive behavioral problems, among others. What are some accommodations general teachers can provide to make curriculum more accessible for autistic students? Students with autism pose a challenge because their unique set of strengths and challenges requires individualized interventions that are not typically part of teachers' regular programs. Teachers of students with autism must be aware of the characteristics of autism in order to develop an effective instructional program that best serves the needs of this unique population. The classroom setting and all instructional materials must be organized to best reflect the learning style of these students, and the delivery of instruction must also be suitable. However, making these accommodations in settings and style is not difficult for teachers who follow established best practices for all students. In fact, when teachers adapt instructional organization and delivery for students with autism, the likely result will be a higher degree of learning for the entire class. According to Project Ideal, the Organization for Autism Research and the Special Education Guide, essential support strategies include, but are not restricted to, priming, setting instructional goals, academic and setting modifications, home-based, visual and other sensory supports, reinforcement, and developing strong connections with parents. Students with autism are far more likely to thrive when teachers' consistency and predictability in the classroom. Priming students means exposing him or her to course material before a lesson takes place. It gives students a chance to become familiar with the material and increases the likelihood they will learn key concepts and details. Priming is most effective when it's built into the student's daily routine, and teachers can work with parents to help reinforce this strategy at home. Along with this strategy, teachers should use instructional goals in the daily routines of students. This allows for multiple opportunities to practice newly acquired skills throughout the day. The third strategy consists in adapting the content or format of the assignments and the classroom settings to meet the students' specific needs. Academic and setting modifications can range from giving directions one step at a time utilizing various cues to reiterate instructions, extended time on assignments, breaking large chunks of work into smaller parts, providing outlines, using manipulative materials to increase participation, providing preferential seating, and allowing students to stand if necessary to complete work, among others. Another support strategy involves designating a place where students with autism can go when they need to regain control in times of stress. It is called a home base. This strategy gives students with autism an exit to get out of those situations in a safe and quiet way that doesn't disrupt the rest of the classroom or lead to a behavioral escalation. That will also be very stigmatizing for them in front of their peers. A fifth and overarching strategy is to maximize visual and other sensory supports, which come in many forms. For instance, labels can be helpful for identifying drawers, contents, or where homework should be placed. Because students with autism tend to be more visual learners, they may benefit from having a copy of their daily schedule or one posted in the room to help guide them through the day. Other visual supports can be graphic organizers that present material in a way that makes it easier for a student to understand. Social scripts are also helpful for students to know what to say or do in a specific situation. They can be note cards with appropriate responses or initiation statements. We can also provide baseball caps, sunglasses, headphones, or face masks for students with hypersensitivity to light, noise, or smell. Reinforcement is a strategy that rewards the students for behaving in ways that are productive and support their continued personal growth. Some common reinforcers include verbal praise, additional break or computer lab time, or homework passes. A good teacher uses reinforcement all the time. The final support strategy is to develop a strong and close relationship with parents. They can share the teaching tips they have found most useful in the home or provide video of the learner engaged in different family and community activities. This type of material tend to give the teacher ideas that are more useful and concrete than do traditional educational reports and assessments. Through parents, we can also find out what calms the students and what riles up them, which can be very helpful to avoid disruptive behavior and meltdowns. There are also some other important support resources that teachers can use. The Individualized Instructional Program, or IEP, is created when a student qualifies for special education services, and it is updated annually. Developing the IEP is a collaborative process that culminates in a meeting that typically includes the student parents, general education teachers, special educators, and other key specialists. Sometimes, a representative from the school or school district will also participate. Assistive technology is another resource that teachers can use to support their lessons and reduce communication issues and combat disinterest. In order to achieve the latter, teachers must learn what intrigues students so that they can grab his or her attention. Assistive technologies is usually divided into groups: low-tech, mid-tech, and high-tech. In general, low-tech AT includes anything that needs no electricity, think weighted vests, sensory balls, or picture boards. Mid-tech AT is simple enough to be relatively inexpensive and easy to operate. Examples include battery-operated sensory toys, visual timers, and social skill videos. High-tech AT is digital technology and can include anything from augmentative communication technology for nonverbal people to robots built to increase social skills in students on the spectrum. The third resource of support are the special education teachers and paraeducators or instructional aides. They are professionals that support general education teachers that work with autism or other exceptional students. The main task of the special education teacher is to guide exceptional students, provide special education, and monitor the IEP. The instructional aide's job is to help exceptional students to stay focused on the lesson and provide reinforcement. These are just some strategies and resources effective inclusive teachers can use in their classrooms. There are many more that are at teachers' disposal on the web. Finally, I want to end with these quotes. Teachers having a better understanding of disabilities have the power to change lives. Thank you for your attention.